He's like,
Harry, lay down.
you want to come out here? Or do you want to go out there?
Harry, lay down.
Where do you want to go? I'm coming out here, bed.
Okay, that's your choice. I don't know if he's gonna follow. Just chilling.
Now?
Sitting down.
Now he's laying.
Now he's laying.
So you want some there?
You wanna see in there, buddy? See in here, buddy? Probably.
Perfect quality.
Yep. Okay, guys. So I'm starting off with, as you can see, I'm gonna do car chases.
Oh, good.
Really just traveling down the middle of the 101 freeway right now. We see some cars off to the right there.
Attempted murder suspect leaves chase.
South, CHP in pursuit of a possible attempted murder suspect.
Now approaching the Sherman Oaks area, you can see there just appears to be that one CHP police SUV about several car lengths back from this SUV. There are multiple. Now that we zoom out just a little bit, you can see at least half a dozen CHP cruisers very close on the tail of this this black SUV that they are pursuing. Again, we have been told that there is a possible attempted murder suspect inside this vehicle. Things that we do not know from investigators right now. We do not know how many people are in that vehicle. We don't know if perhaps there are any children that could be in danger in that vehicle. We also don't know if the person inside this vehicle is armed or considered dangerous at this point. Now this person's going somewhere between 60 and 80 some miles per hour. So there seems to be some varied speed here, Josh.
And we know at this point the vehicle did go past the 101 and 405 interchange, staying on the 101. Now the car going through Sherman Oaks, now entering Studio City, approaching Laurel Canyon Boulevard. In Studio City, we know coming up will be exits to the 170 freeway, also to the 134, and we'll just have to watch whether this vehicle stays on the 101 South and heads into the Hollywood area. I see right now, it looks like 4 California Highway Patrol vehicles, 5 now in pursuit of this black Subaru as it is in the Studio City area right now, but a number of freeways coming up, Liz.
And they're also, this is an area that's very frequently clogged with a lot of traffic. There does not appear on this Sunday afternoon, holiday afternoon, to be a lot of cars on this freeway, so it appears that the suspect is able to navigate traffic pretty quickly. We don't see any wild maneuvers so far. We've not seen any erratic lane changes, although that appears to be changing just as I say that. The person's sort of weaving in and out of lanes right here.
And there is something in the front seat, the passenger seat. I do not believe it's a person. At this point, I just saw the driver, but it looked like either a white bag or something in the front there. Again, this is that interchange I was talking about. Looks like the vehicle is switching now from the 101 South to the 134 East, getting onto the 134 East right now. And as you pointed out, Liz, not so much traffic on the 101, but as we enter the 134, we are seeing some more vehicles and that Subaru increasing their speed.
And now it appears as though that the passenger side window has now been rolled down. I don't believe it was like that just a few minutes ago when we started watching this pursuit. Oh, you can just see right there, the window has been rolling up and down, so it's unclear if somebody's in that passenger seat. It's difficult to tell from this vantage point. We do have one person at least in the driver's seat, not sure who may be in the back seat. Again, this all started as a pursuit by the Ventura Sheriff's Department up in Ventura County. They believe that this person inside the vehicle may be connected to a possible attempted murder.
And when we first picked up this pursuit and brought you coverage, this vehicle was in the Encino area on the 101 South. Now we are on the 134 East in the Toluca Lake area, but approaching Burbank and you know, not too far from where we are in the Glendale area right now. And it does seem like at times this car is increasing its rate of speed. We do have our law enforcement expert Bruce Thomas on the line. He usually joins us during these events and provides some much needed context. Bruce, what do you make of this pursuit so far? Are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you. Good afternoon. Well, what we have is CHP attempt murder suspect, meaning this pursuit will not be called off even when it becomes inherently dangerous for everybody involved. Hopefully they have a helicopter overhead. If not, they will ask for mutual aid and request one. So this is a good pursuit, as they say.
And when you say good pursuit, you mean that what you were referencing before, Bruce, that this is not something that they're going to easily call off. If anything, you're likely to see more law enforcement join in on this.
Correct. Through mutual aid, CHP, if necessary, will hand it off to another CHP station so they can have fresh units in the pursuit.
All right, we've been watching this for just a few minutes, Bruce, maybe about 5 to 10 minutes at this point, but I believe this pursuit has been going on probably at least a half hour or so since it began up in Ventura County. You were speaking some to the nature of this pursuit, a possible attempted murder suspect inside. What are officers looking for at this point?
Well, it creates a lot of animosity toward the officers. I don't mean that in a bad way, but their senses are heightened. What we see now is we see CHP. It looks like they're going to hand off HD. We can see that. But it means also they're thinking ahead. What about the terminus of the pursuit? We have an attempt murder suspect who probably was armed or is possibly armed, which means they have to take into account all those factors.
And Bruce, how are they able to get any information about who else may be in the car or what else may be in that SUV?
I believe since where it started over in Ventura County, they are talking to the people at the crime scene and finding out who this driver is he known, and who it possibly is in the vehicle. They may even have run the plate and got some information, and we'll find out that also.
So again, this pursuit's starting in Ventura County. We brought you the location when we first came on the air in Encino. Now we are in the Glendale area on the 134 East Freeway. Bruce Thomas with us. Bruce, you've pointed out that even if this pursuit becomes dangerous, the CHP will not back off this vehicle. Can you explain a little bit more as to why that's the case?
Yeah, you have an egregious felony. You have an attempt murder, which is under the statute 187 of the Penal Code, punishable by death and/or life imprisonment. So this is a high-value crime. And when I say dangerous, meaning if this guy starts ramming into other vehicles, things like that, CHP may back off, but they're not going to let this suspect go.
We've gone from the 101 freeway to the 134 now. The vehicle that is being pursued exited the 134, I believe. Looks like passing exit 6 on San Fernando Road.
Very busy interchange here. This is where the 5 freeway comes in. We're still in the Glendale area right now, so you can see a little bit more traffic there. We've seen this car sort of various speeds, not going any slower than maybe 62 miles per hour, but we have seen it go above 90 at some point. You can see it's now kind of weaving a little bit in and out of traffic. They're going at a more reasonable rate of speed. But Bruce, this is interesting that we haven't seen this driver pull any seriously erratic moves. At what point do officers now sort of get involved and maybe try and go a little more offensive on this pursuit?
Yeah, I'm sorry. What we have seen the driver do is he's actually signaled when he changed lanes. He is not that inherently out of the realm of possibilities on driving on the freeway on the afternoon like this. They're going to stay fairly close so they can keep a visual. And what they'll do is they'll swap units out to have a fresh unit be the lead vehicle. And then hopefully the pursuit is being called by a secondary vehicle or a helicopter on scene.
So that was actually a question that we had was this vehicle going to get off onto the 405? The vehicle did not. It did get off onto the 134, but it has actually not gone onto the 5 freeway. It's still on the 134 East in the Glendale area, passing Central Avenue and Brand Boulevard right now. And we've seen speeds change between 70 miles per hour, 90 at one point. But what do you make at the speed at which this vehicle is going, Bruce? And how does that impact the way that CHP will treat this pursuit?
Well, it goes into the night.
Like any other pursuit, they're going to stay back. They're going to monitor. They're going to have at least 3 to 5 vehicles because there's a murder suspect. I don't know if when Air 7 HD had pulled in, if there was a passenger or not. It did look like there was a passenger. So now they're dealing with 2 people in the vehicle. The other thing that is they've gained information, is this vehicle going back home? Meaning, is it going back to a location where it lives at or is registered to? And the crime may have happened in Ventura County, but is that where the vehicle actually originates from?
Right. That is so often the case with these pursuits, Bruce, is that people tend to end up back in areas that they know, either back in their home area, back to where this crime may or may not have been committed. And we get a little bit better vantage point right now. I'm not sure if you can see this, what we're seeing from Air 7, but you're right. It does appear as though there perhaps is somebody in the passenger seat. Just a few minutes ago, we saw the window on the passenger side go up and down a few times in a row there. That vehicle looks like it appears to be breaking away.
But it was hard to tell whether that's a bag in the front seat or a person. I know it's a bunch of belongings.
A box of belongings or perhaps a bag of belongings there. But this person, Bruce, does not show any signs of slowing down or perhaps even exiting the freeway at this point. They've been on this 134 for several miles now.
Yeah, by staying on the freeway, that's a good thing for law enforcement because they don't have to deal with cross traffic or pedestrians or other road hazards that may turn up. So by staying on the freeway, they're going to follow him and can continue the pursuit in a fairly safe manner.
Okay. Yeah, and I also want to point out that no longer in the Glendale area, now in Eagle Rock, approaching not too far from Pasadena, and we, of course, are bringing you live coverage right now of a pursuit that originated in Ventura County, CHP pursuing an attempted murder suspect. We have Bruce Thomas here with us. Bruce, as we stay on the 134 right now, it doesn't appear that this vehicle or driver driving in the middle of the 134 right now, plans on getting off at all, and just talk a little bit more about how that's a good thing for the CHP is if they just stay on the freeway, why that's safer.
Yeah, knowing that, the suspect is driving at a fairly decent speed, he's not exceeding it by, 20, 30, 40 miles. He's, driving 60 and he's in that Eagle Rock area, which is kind of an isolated area of the Ventura Freeway also. CHP will just be very content to stay behind the suspect and let this play out.
Yeah, and that still on the 134 in the Eagle Rock area, but approaching the 210. And we're going to have to watch which direction on the 210 or possibly even getting off the freeway if that's what this vehicle decides to do as they approach the Pasadena area right now, Liz.
This pursuit has been going on for probably well over a half an hour now. It again began up in Ventura County. So, Bruce, as you were saying to us just a few minutes ago, because this is what you consider to be a high-value subject, perhaps in this car, because they're wanted for something, perhaps like an attempted murder charge, you said that officers who are in pursuit are likely in communication with the original officers, perhaps back at the scene where this crime occurred. What kind of communication is going on behind the scenes right now to get more information about who is in that vehicle?
Well, CHP, the vehicles that are in the pursuit, are putting out the things they need to put out to their watch commander to allow this pursuit to continue. Hopefully, the watch commander or other individuals at CHP have been in communication with Ventura County SO or the local police in that area to find out exactly what kind of crime is this really, and where did it occur? Meaning, is that vehicle now linked up to the suspect's location that the crime occurred, or is the suspect going home to some other location?
Can you talk about the coordination, Bruce, that's taking place in terms of communication with other jurisdictions? We know that this vehicle was in the city of Los Angeles, but is now entering the city of Pasadena. But as long as the vehicle stays on the freeway, is there coordination going on with local police departments?
Yes, sir. Under mutual aid, Pasadena PD is monitoring the pursuit on the radio. They have vehicles, they have officers in the area in their vehicles. They're not actively getting involved in the pursuit because they have not been asked to join or take over the pursuit as long as it's on the freeway. But once it exits the freeway, CHP may then contact them and say, okay, we're in your city. Do you have units in place? And then they can do a handoff.
We see the car speeding up right now, passing, was it 67?
But still, yeah, just
still
in the
not that
60
fast.
mile per hour range. And given the fact that we're on the freeway a Sunday afternoon, what might typically be a little bit busier with traffic, perhaps families
Slowing
at
down.
home celebrating the holiday and out with gatherings. So this person at the moment does not appear to be putting other people in danger. Now we're speeding up again. We just for a moment saw it surpass 90 miles per hour. So a little bit of erratic nature of this driver, Bruce, not so much in the traffic maneuvers this person is pulling. Okay, sorry, we're ducking under an overpass there. Not so much in the maneuvers this driver is pulling because they appear to be staying in the center lane here, but just a very varied speed going on here.
Yeah, suspect is varying speeds from the low end on the 60 all the way up to possibly 100 or in the 90s. We don't see a real, a want to get away type of attitude from a suspect wanted in that type of crime. So, which leads me to believe there's definitely more to this story, which will come out, but they are chasing what they believe to be a possible attempt murder suspect.
All right, Bruce, we do have a brief update on this that just came in from our assignment desk, and it seems to be that there's a bit of confusion on this situation. The Ventura Sheriff's Department said that this started as a traffic violation once it got on the freeway. The California Highway Patrol took over the pursuit. The Ventura Sheriff's Office says they aren't sure where the California Highway Patrol got the information that this was connected to a possible attempted murder. California Highway Patrol maintains that this is a possible attempted murder. We're trying to work out that miscommunication there and figure out exactly what is going on. But because California Highway Patrol believes that this is connected to a possible attempted murder, I imagine that's how they are treating this situation, correct?
That's correct. They're treating it at the highest level of officer safety that they can, meaning they believe they have a possible attempt murder suspect in the vehicle who is possibly armed, and they will treat that as information garnered at the end of the pursuit to do a felony traffic stop on the vehicle.
And we're in the mid-central area right now on 210 East. It looks to me when Air 7 just pulled out and gave us a wider picture there as though more CHP vehicles have joined this pursuit. Is that the case?
It does seem that definitely more CHP vehicles have joined. They may be transitioning from one station to another, and until those newer vehicles or the new unit stations are in place, that they won't hand off yet.
Yeah, I've counted at least 8. It looks like that number continues to grow. We are no longer in Pasadena. The vehicle has passed Pasadena, now in the passing Sierra Madre Boulevard, I believe approaching the Monrovia area. Again, this is the 210 East. So far, we've seen this vehicle go from Ventura County 101 South, then change to the 134 East, and now on the 210 freeway heading into the San Diego Valley. And we know that at this point, CHP maintains attempted murder suspect. There's some questions surrounding that. Our newsroom working to get clarification on that. But again, the Ventura County Sheriff says this started as a traffic violation. And then once the vehicle got onto the freeway, that is when the CHP took over. We've seen varying speeds, but as Liz pointed out, seems like mainly in the 60, 70 mile per hour range, not too much beyond that. And so far, this vehicle has not hit any heavy traffic. Most of the vehicles that are on the freeways have moved over to the side, so that's at least some good news. We're getting a pretty good look right now at the front seat, passenger seat. It does not appear to be a passenger passenger in that front seat, but there are quite a few belongings. At one point, we actually saw that window roll down, but then it was rolled back up. So we don't know how many people are in this vehicle. We can only clearly see one, the driver there in that orange T-shirt, as we try and get more information on how exactly this originated and why CHP is approaching this in this particular fashion.
And I noticed the driver there, at least in this video, appears to have two hands on the wheel, you know, sort of 10 and 2 grip there, Bruce. I'm wondering, with this sort of miscommunication that may be involved here, Ventura Sheriff's Department said that this evolved from a traffic stop. CHP says this is a possible attempted murder. Is it possible that once CHP picked up this pursuit on the freeway, that they were able to run the person's plates or get some more information that perhaps Ventura Sheriff's Office didn't have?
Yeah, that's all a possibility. I mean, you have two ends of the spectrum. You have traffic violations to attempt murder. You go from 0 to 10, so to speak. So somewhere there's a miscommunication, or what is the true story?
Or perhaps there was just some more information that became available. I know law enforcement often uses those license plate readers. Is that something that would have been actively used as soon as CHP picked up this pursuit?
It might have been, or CHP just ran the vehicle when they heard that Ventura County sheriffs were in pursuit, if they even were in pursuit in the beginning. And then once he or she jumped on the freeway, then CHP took it over, ran the license plate, and maybe the license plate came back to an attempt murder suspect, in addition to the traffic violations that Ventura County SO wanted.
Right. So
Yeah,
so
that
we're
could
following these
be.
pursuits, and they are stolen vehicles that are involved. We've not gotten any information about the vehicle that may be involved here. What we know about it is simply what we can see. That it is a black Subaru SUV, that it appears to have at least one person inside, just the driver. We don't know any more information than that. But we are now deep into the upper San Gabriel Valley at this point. This began as a pursuit somewhere in Ventura County, began with the Ventura Sheriff's Office, picked up by the CHP. That person has driven all the way from Ventura County through the 101 southbound, through Encino, all the way through the San Fernando Valley, here through Burbank, Glendale, and now into the San Gabriel Valley.
And just within the last 15 minutes, Liz, the communities that this vehicle has gone through: Pasadena, Sierra Madre, Duarte, Azusa, appears to be around the Azusa-Glendora area right now in the upper San Gabriel Valley. And we are really not seeing too many vehicles on the freeway, which of course is a good sign, 67 miles per hour right now. Bruce, can you tell us again the distance in which we're looking at almost 8 CHP vehicles? Talk about why CHP doesn't get too close to the car when they're in pursuit on a freeway, and what their strategy is. We know that distance is very intentional.
Sure. You want to keep a safe distance in the pursuit so that you can react in a positive manner to something that the suspect vehicle may do. They are going to stay back. You may see them come a little closer and then back off, just to remind the suspect, hey, we're still here. We're not going anywhere. Not to put pressure on them, but just to put that little reminder in the back of their head.
And again, we are just watching this person generally varying their speeds only by about 5 miles per hour. So, and in some respects, going slower than the speed limit would be on the 210 eastbound freeway, which this person has been driving on for several miles now.
And staying in the middle of the freeway.
This person is not changing lanes, not causing danger to any other vehicle. So it seems as though this vehicle is either intent on getting somewhere specific, Bruce, or perhaps just running out the clock, perhaps on law enforcement. Is that something that these drivers sometimes do?
Possibly. I mean, starting in Ventura County, this suspect vehicle has had numerous opportunities to change freeways, get off the freeway, and to go into residential or business areas, and they haven't. They have pretty much stayed in the number 2 lane of the freeway at a very monitoring speed that's safe, and the freeway conditions are fairly light. So CHP is very content just to stay behind the vehicle and follow it.
Maybe that's some good news that it is a holiday, and we have not seen any point where the Subaru has had to slow down, hit any sort of traffic, or even had any other vehicles really in its lane. It does appear that there is a car in the middle lane that it's approaching right now. You see another CHP vehicle on the side of the road there changing lanes. But for now, the vehicle staying on the 210 East. Again, we're following this pursuit in the upper San Gabriel Valley right now. That CHP vehicle.
Okay, guys. Sorry, guys.
About as close as we've seen, Liz, right now to the Subaru.
So, Bruce, what might be going on here? Because it does appear that the CHP vehicle is gaining speed and sort of closing the distance in on this SUV. Why is this happening right now?
They just might, because the Subaru has sped up, so they're speeding up just to stay at a decent distance with them. It looks like there may have been a handoff between CHP stations as they transverse further east. People will say, well, can't they use a spike strip or a pit maneuver? The speeds are just too great on this, and the freeway would have to be fairly vacant in order to do those maneuvers. Ideally, a freeway like this with multiple lanes is a good place to do it, but the speeds are just too high.
And because you mentioned that CHP is treating this as a possible attempted murder suspect, this is not something that you're saying they are likely to give up on easily. This is not something that they're just going to let this go. They intend to follow this person as long as possible.
Yeah, that's correct. And the reason you see so many vehicles, CHP vehicles in the pursuit, is because they have a possible attempt murder suspect, which is a high-grade felony. So they're going to need multiple manpower to conduct a traffic break and to take the suspect into custody during a felony traffic stop.
Bruce, I have another question. As we've been following this for nearly half an hour now, CHP vehicles here have to be sort of trying to anticipate what this driver's next maneuver could be. Do they do something erratic? I'm wondering, do CHP vehicles perhaps start lining the freeway or closing off an exit if they anticipate this person might be getting off somewhere? What's their maneuver strategy?
Oh, he's jaining on
Typically,
him.
they won't do that to isolate the vehicle. They're very content with the vehicle staying in the number 2 lane of the freeway heading eastbound. They are just going to continue to monitor the vehicle and just stay behind it and do handoffs between stations in order to keep fresh eyes on the vehicle.
Yeah, and so we're seeing passing Mount Olive Drive, which is near the 210 and 605. I had mentioned all those communities that this vehicle on the 210 East had gone through after Pasadena, of course, Sierra Madre, Monrovia, Duarte. Now it appears that the vehicle, still in the East San Gabriel Valley, has passed Bradbury, the Azusa area, and passing the exit at Irwindale Avenue. Just to recap, as we approach 6:30 here, we have had this pursuit on the air for, as Liz said, almost 30 minutes. It originated in Ventura County. Once the vehicle got onto the 101 freeway south, that is when CHP took over. We started our coverage when the vehicle was in Encino, that vehicle traveling from Encino to Sherman Oaks to Studio City, then changing freeways from the 101 South to the 134 East, and now on the 210 freeway east, heading towards the Inland Empire. We, of course, do not know where this driver is headed. We don't know how many people are in the vehicle. Right now, we've just seen one driver, some belongings in the front seat. There was a period where this driver did roll down the window of that front passenger side, but then rolled that window up. Speeds have varied between 60 and 70 miles per hour. Luckily, the freeways have not been crowded on this Easter Sunday, but the CHP, we've spotted about 10 vehicles trailing this black
There's
Subaru.
another,
CHP maintaining this is a possible attempted murder suspect.
Right, and you see there on your screen, if you're just joining us, that this is a possible attempted murder pursuit. There seems to be a bit of confusion right now that our assignment desk is trying to sort out. We're trying to ask questions of various law enforcement departments that are involved in this. As Josh mentioned, this began up in Ventura County. The Ventura Sheriff's Department tells us that this started as a traffic violation, a traffic stop. Once this person did not comply with that traffic stop and got on the freeway, that was when the California Highway Patrol took over. Now, the California Highway Patrol says they are treating this as though it's a possible attempted murder suspect inside the vehicle. The Ventura Sheriff's Office says they're not sure where they got that information, but Bruce Thomas, our law enforcement expert who's been watching this pursuit with us for a better part of a half hour now, says regardless of what exactly is going on here, CHP is treating this as though this is the most dangerous possible situation for people involved. Right, Bruce?
That's correct. I mean, we just don't, in this pursuit, we just don't see the urgency that we've seen in other pursuits of stolen vehicles.
And one thing
is just kind of, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to point out that there's an LA County Sheriff's Deputy vehicle to the left of the Subaru that's kind of been tailing the vehicle along with the CHP car. Yeah, we're highlighting it right now. It appears to just be assisting, but at times it was actually traveling faster than the CHP car. I don't know exactly what the role is of that vehicle. Can you give any insight? Obviously, the LA County Sheriff's Department is involved in pursuits all the time, just like California Highway Patrol, Bruce.
Correct. I don't know what the LASO vehicle is doing. It can be that the vehicle could be responding to a Code 3 emergency call that just so happens to be paralleling this whole pursuit. Typically, they're not going to get involved unless they're invited or asked under mutual aid. And being on the freeway, I don't think CHP is going to do that. So I think it's kind of an uninvolved emergency call at this point.
And not surprising at this point, because this person has been traveling inside this vehicle for, gosh, it's got to be better than 50 miles at this point. I mean, this began up in Ventura County probably roughly an hour ago. We've been following it for a good 30 minutes. And if this person has a destination in mind, it does not appear as though they've given any indication of what that may be. I mean, this person has not been driving erratically. They've been roughly driving the speed limit or less than the speed limit for the entire time that they have been on the 101 or the 210. We haven't seen speeds greater than 90 miles per hour and really hasn't come into contact with any other vehicles.
And again, you're watching Eyewitness News.
What are you going on about? Oh.
6:30. This is Josh Haskell with Liz Nagy, and we're joined by our law enforcement expert, Bruce Thomas. Bruce, I do want to ask you, as you had pointed out earlier, there's been a number of opportunities for the Subaru to change freeways. They've only changed freeways a limited number of times. We've passed the 405 interchange, stayed on the 101. We've passed the 5 freeway, stayed on the 134, now on the 210, and this vehicle has passed the 605. What do you make of all that this driver is not erratically changing freeways?
Based on, my opinion of what we're watching and have pursuits before when they have a destination, it seems like this vehicle is going back to where it lives, so to speak, meaning he's going back to familiar ground. That's not Ventura County, that's not Eagle Rock, Glendale, Pasadena, or any of those other cities, that he's going somewhere possibly in the Inland Empire.
And we're getting a little bit better vantage point of this driver right now. The driver's just lifted the right hand off the wheel. We'd noticed for a while, the person was driving with two hands on the wheel, making some sort of motion, touching his chest or something like that there. It's difficult to tell. We can't be sure, but it doesn't look as though there's anybody in the passenger seat. The windows, the back seat appear to be tinted, so we can't tell if there's an animal or perhaps anybody else inside the vehicle. But this person has to have been driving 50 to 70 miles at this point, and shows no signs of stopping. They haven't even changed lanes hardly in the last 15 to 20 minutes. Bruce, at some point, does law enforcement lose interest, or do they run out of patience with something like this and try and bring this to a stop? Or if it's not endangering the greater public, do they just continue following?
Yeah, great question. Just as a footnote, that sheriff's vehicle, I think, with rooftop number 13, which, if I remember correctly, and I've been out of the game for a little bit, I think that's Lakewood Station. So they may have been an uninvolved emergency call and just happened to be rolling code 3 lights and siren on the freeway to get where they needed to be. But going back to your question, they're not going to lose interest in this because it is a possible murder suspect. They will stay behind them with lights and siren to warn the general public as they come upon them on the freeway, because you're not going to hear the siren, but you will see the lights. So this pursuit's going to continue. They're not going to lose interest, but they are going to maintain this pursuit and follow it to the terminus of it.
And we're now up to the 70 to 80 mile per hour range right now. And as Josh mentioned, this person has passed up multiple opportunities to get off the freeway. Just another possibility right there. And yet that person stayed right in the center lane. We're up to, again, back down to 64 miles an hour, sped up briefly to 90 miles per hour. This is a possible attempted murder suspect. And yet this person is showing few signs of erratic driving and also no interest in giving up. Josh,
and Bruce and Liz, I just wanted to point out that we're still on the 210 East. We've passed San Dimas. We've passed another chance for the vehicle to get off, which they did not, which was the 57 freeway. And at this point, the vehicle staying on the 210 East, still a ways away from the 15 freeway, which would be the next opportunity to change freeways. That, of course, in the sort of North Fontana area, Rancho Cucamonga, of course, not there yet, but Rancho Cucamonga would be the next big city that this vehicle would pass. And then we'll see if they make a decision whether to get on the 15 freeway. But at this point, still in that middle lane on the 210 East, really has not changed lanes. And I do think it's interesting, Bruce, that you pointed out that LA County Sheriff's Deputy vehicle that was kind of staying right with it, as you thought might have just been in that location, stumbled upon the pursuit for an unrelated call, and we're no longer seeing that Sheriff's Deputy vehicle. So far, we're only seeing right now CHP, about 10 vehicles trailing this black Subaru.
Yeah, I think the sheriff's vehicle was responding to an emergent call and just happened to be involved in this, in the fact that they were kind of paralleling it, getting to where they needed to go in a timely manner.
And you mentioned that part of the reason that there are so many vehicles in pursuit is not just for this vehicle, but also to give an indication to the greater public, the people who are out, other drivers who are out on the freeway, that something is going on. I just wanted to point out that this car passed a pickup truck in one of the inside lanes just a few minutes ago, and I noticed that pickup truck had its flashers on and was moving out of the way. Perhaps they, knew something was coming up behind them. So at this point, people seem to be aware that there is something going on, and this car just sort of has free range on the 210 East at this point.
Yeah, you brought up a really good point, and that is, what if you're driving and you happen to be part of a pursuit now? What do? Put your flashers on, pull to the right, get out of the problem. Exactly what that pickup truck did. You don't want to speed up or maintain your speed. Let them pass you. Don't become part of the problem.
And that's exactly what that driver did a few minutes ago. Now, we are continuing to follow this pursuit. For people who are just joining us, we have some quick tidbits on this situation up on your screen right there. The California Highway Patrol is pursuing this driver inside a black Subaru SUV. This began roughly an hour ago up in Ventura County as some sort of traffic stop that obviously did not go as planned. Once this person got on the freeway up in Ventura County, that's when the California Highway Patrol took over and began pursuing this black Subaru SUV. That person made their way on the 101 South through Encino all the way through the San Fernando Valley, picked up the 134 eastbound, drove through Glendale, Pasadena, the Burbank area, Toluca Lake. There was some more traffic at that point, but this person then got on the 210 East Freeway and has been there for several miles, now going 60 to 61 miles per hour, a pretty slow rate of speed. This person is being pursued either for some sort of traffic violation or possible attempted murder. That is a wide range, but CHP is treating this as though this is the most dangerous possible situation.
And it sounds as though, according to our newsroom, that this started as some sort of a traffic violation. Obviously, there's more information that we need to find out about this suspect. Now we see CHP SUV speeding past the driver. I don't know, Bruce, I know Liz had asked this earlier. Is there any sort of move that the CHP would be willing to take just because traffic is so light? Any type of spike strip situation? Or is that not something that they would do on a freeway?
No, great question. That CHP vehicle that just passed may be trying to conduct some sort of traffic break so that they have time and distance for the possibility of a spike strip. It has been deployed on the freeway before, but you need a very huge operational area on the freeway, being void of other vehicles. So that would mean the CHP vehicles behind the pursuit would slow it down and create a traffic break like we've seen where they weave in and out of the lanes to slow traffic down. And possibly the vehicle that passed is trying to create that operational area in front for the deployment of the spike strip.
So right now, still on the 210 East Freeway, passing Northtown Avenue. This is in the Claremont area. We know that the next big interchange, as I mentioned, will be the 15 freeway. And Bruce, you bring up that point about a traffic break possibly in the distance. How, if you're a CHP SUV, to get out in front, talk a little bit about the strategy in terms of getting out in front of a pursuit. How does CHP approach that, and how difficult is that? Are we talking about 2 exits ahead of the driver, 4 exits? Again, it does seem like this car is staying on the 210 East for now.
Yeah, you are learning that the suspect vehicle has stayed pretty much according to what they're
Just
driving.
stop.
Meaning they're driving eastbound on the 210. They're not changing lanes erratically. They're not trying to get off the freeway. They're staying pretty much where they are. So that CHP SUV that pulled ahead, there's possibly 2 or 3 exits ahead of them, waiting for traffic to maybe die down so that they can safely deploy the spike strip. Because also you got to remember, the officer is putting themselves at risk by deploying that spike strip with moving vehicles coming toward them.
And you mentioned that this is not something that CHP is likely to lose their patience with or give up on. I mean, they are in this for the long haul as long as this driver is going to continue on the freeway. Josh mentioned that the next opportunity for this person to really get off or change direction here is coming up on the 15 freeway. We're now going to be entering Riverside County, correct? So this will at least be the 3rd county that this driver has driven through. It started in Ventura County all the way through Los Angeles County in the San Fernando Valley and now here into Riverside County.
This vehicle traveling at least over 60 miles so far. This pursuit has been going on we're approaching 1 hour. And I do want to point out that on one of the overpasses, we did see some cars parked, some drivers out of their vehicles, looking down onto the 210 East Freeway. So now that this pursuit has gone on for quite some time, it does seem like people are getting word of this. Maybe that's leading to the 210 East still being relatively empty. We are seeing some more vehicles traveling on the west lanes.
Right, and this vehicle at this point appears to be almost the only car on the freeway on the 210 eastbound. This car is driven for quite some distance. Bruce, you say that perhaps this person knows exactly where they're going and appears to have no intention of getting off the freeway before they reach whatever that destination may be. Does law enforcement have any way of figuring out what that is or who might be in that car to possibly run an address, figure out where they could be going?
Yes, very much so. I was going to ask if Air7 HD could pull out so we could see the back of the CHP units to see if they are running a traffic break behind this while we continue talking about this. But yeah, they run the license plate. They found out where the vehicle is registered to. From there, they will then possibly send the vehicle to that residence if it's in close proximity to where they're going to find out, hey, do you know the driver? Do you know who this person is? And then they'll do a workup, meaning they'll run this person through crime databases to find out who they really are and if they have a criminal history.
So
And,
just go ahead.
and I just want to point out that this pursuit, starting in Ventura County, now through LA County, and now we have entered San Bernardino County. This vehicle now on the 210 East in the Ontario area.
And so, Bruce, you were talking about some of because police have now had at least an hour to sort of figure out what's going on here. They're running the license plate. They're trying to figure out who might be inside that vehicle. CHP is speaking with Ventura County, who initiated this traffic stop. So while this pursuit is going on, there's also some good old-fashioned police work. Wait, can you see what's happening
Is there
here,
a
Bruce?
spike
Tell us what's
strip,
going on.
Bruce?
Yeah, I see. Yeah, it looks like that vehicle that pulled way ahead is going to deploy a spike strip.
Here comes the Subaru. There's a spike strip out, we believe. Here we go. What's your take, Bruce?
Hopefully the spike strip will work and deflate some of the tires. You have multiple CHP units there. The officer's waiting for the vehicle. Once the vehicle comes in close proximity, then he'll deploy that spike strip or tack strip, as it's called. In this case, he's going to roll it out, but he's only covering maybe one lane. So looks like it's going to be non-functional spike strip deployment at that point.
And we've made a lot of the fact that this driver has stayed in the center lane. It appears as though this driver is now starting to make their way over to the inner lanes here on the freeway and perhaps maybe looking to exit there. Clearly word of this pursuit has gotten out because that was yet another freeway overpass that we saw drivers gathered on, people sort of watching this as though this was a real spectacle. And it has been. We're now in the 3rd county now. This pursuit has been going on since Ventura County, well over 60 miles at this point, and yet not a super high rate of speed. The California Highway Patrol is pursuing this person because they believe it may be an attempted murder suspect. And so Bruce has been telling us they are treating this as the most dangerous possible situation to the public.
This starting as a traffic violation in Ventura County. Bruce, I want to ask you, could that have been a failed spike strip attempt? Because we did see that California Highway Patrol SUV speed ahead about 15 minutes ago, and it looked like that might have been the same vehicle that we saw that officer on the side of the road possibly trying to lay out a spike strip, but it does not seem like that Subaru was impacted at all. It doesn't seem like their tires have been impacted as this pursuit continues.
Yeah, it was a failed deployment, and part of the problem with deploying the spike strip or tack strip, as it's called, on a freeway is you have 4 or 5 lanes. So you got to put the patrol vehicle in one lane, and hopefully, you're throwing it out, but it can only cover maybe a lane or a lane and a half. And so what they'd have to do is kind of funnel the vehicle toward that spike strip, which put the officers in grave danger to do this. And you would need multiple spike strips in order to do this.
Yeah, there's a sheriff airship flying through our shot there right there. Okay, Bruce, we have a very important update. You've been saying that CHP is treating this as a dangerous possible situation, an attempted murder suspect. We now have some clarification. The Ventura CHP just clarified this for our assignment desk. They said this started as a traffic matter. During the pursuit, they say the suspect called the Ventura Sheriff Dispatch. The sheriff and the suspect talked for an extended amount of time. They say they figured out who he was and why this person wasn't stopping. And they clarified that he is wanted in connection with an attempted murder investigation. So this is why you were saying CHP, if they believe there's any chance that this is connected to an attempted murder, they are going to treat it as such.
Are we looking at another spike strip situation there?
Let's see what they do. Yeah, it's just hard on the freeway because there's so many lanes.
How many lanes
We're
does...
now in the Ontario area, just to point out, and yet another freeway overpass where people are gathered watching. So this is really, word of this has really gotten out to the general public.
How many lanes does a spike strip normally cover, Bruce?
It looks like the spike strip they're using are maybe about 9 feet in total length. It looks like they did deploy it. Either they got one of the tires or they just missed it due to the length of the spike strip. But they're definitely going to try to keep employing spike strips. And to your point, with the advent of social media, people are watching this pursuit as it's streaming live on Channel 7, on KABC, but also their social media is blowing up over this, as you can see on the overpasses.
Just out of curiosity, does that change how police respond to that when they notice that there are people now out and watching this, that perhaps somehow the public could get involved? Are they more eager to bring this to a quick conclusion?
On the freeway, it's not so much as problematic as they were in a residential area that we have seen suspects at the terminus, and we've seen people that are friendlies get involved, and also maybe some antagonistic people in the neighborhood that are they have to now worry about too as they take the suspect into custody. But on the freeway, it's not that big of an issue at this point.
You see that this car is coming into contact with some more drivers than we've seen in the 70 or so miles that this police has been pursuing it. We do see that the cars are doing what you suggested, getting out of the way and allowing the CHP motorcade to move through. But I do want to ask you about this information that we just got from the Ventura Highway Patrol here. What do you make of the fact that this suspect called the sheriff's office dispatch himself?
Another spike strip situation?
Oh, that's from earlier. I apologize. So we're rerunning some of that video. So, Bruce, I want to ask you, just to restate what we had gotten there, that this started as a traffic matter. During this pursuit, after it jumped onto the freeway, the suspect called the Ventura Sheriff Dispatch Center himself. And the suspect, the person behind the wheel, and the sheriff himself had an extended conversation. And that's how investigators were able to figure out who this person is and said that he is wanted in connection to an attempted murder. What do you make of that, Bruce?
Well, that's a good thing that law enforcement has gained information now of who is in the vehicle, what they are wanted for. Was it an armed type situation? So these are all things that they're now planning for at the terminus or end of this pursuit. But anytime you can find out who's in the vehicle, what they're wanted for, where they live, all that information, that's all positives for law enforcement.
But interesting that this person called...
Cook what? Why? I'll be right back, guys. That's fine.
Dispatch voluntarily
right.
gave information but continues to want to, it appears to outrun law enforcement because this car at no point has tried to stop, has gotten off the freeway, this pursuit continuing. But we know that there have been numerous situations, I can think of a few stories I've covered, where suspects call dispatch, they want
Yes,
to share
babe.
information, they want to identify themselves, and this appears to be one of those situations,
Wait,
Bruce.
is this person, so the driver just signaled again where they were changing lanes here.
Changing lanes.
So
yeah.
are you noticing any change in pattern of this driver in the last few minutes? Because we've had a lot going on here. There are more drivers on the road at this point. We have a little more information. Are you noticing any changes as you're watching this?
You know, I hate to use the word safely, but that's
What?
decent speed with traffic. They're signaling. They're moving over. You know, they're trying. There was another spike strip attempt right
True.
there also. You know, I'm sure they've tried to call this suspect back.
True.
And say, look, you know, just pull over, give yourself up. We can make sure you're not harmed.
Harry, no.
Let's just end this now. So they definitely tried to call him or her back, and hopefully they're talking.
So one thing that we
Right?
do want to point out, and we've been talking about this again,
I
Josh
know.
Haskell, Liz Nagy, and Bruce Thomas. Bruce, our
Yep.
control room confirms there have been 3 failed spike strip attempts. It doesn't appear like the tires on the Subaru have been impacted at all. We have not seen any signs of that. Of course, we don't know for sure, but we have seen 3 separate situations where CHP officers, I believe 2 times near the center divider, they deployed spike strips and the Subaru was not impacted by them. And then another time they were on the shoulder and that also
I
was not
know.
effective. It seems as though that they will continue to do this. Can you give our viewers any context? Is this standard protocol when it comes to a pursuit on a freeway, that there would be 3+ more spike strip attempts? Are they just going to continue this?
Well, I think that they have been given permission if it presents itself to deploy the spike strip. The problem is you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 5 lanes of traffic. So you really can't deploy it in the middle. So you have to deploy it on either the fast lane side or the slow lane side. And then you kind of have to funnel the driver toward that spike strip
Real.
because they have multiple lanes to evade it. So this creates
That's
a huge
actually
problem for
true.
CHP.
Majority of
Also, Bruce, I just
America
wanna
is
point out that we're at
brainwashed.
6:53 now. Sunset is set for 7:17,
Here's your
so we're
phone
coming into
back.
a time of day where the light is going to start to change. Is that going to
I
change
know
any
they
bit of
don't
law
because they're
enforcement tactic on this,
brainwashed
if in
by
fact this
what
is still
Trump
going in another
says.
25 minutes, and given that it's been going for well over an hour at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah, what you'll see is the airship overhead, whether it's CHP or sheriffs or some other agency that has joined it. They're going to use the night sun, and that will be to illuminate the suspect vehicle and also warn drivers that there is pursuit in that area. So with the night sun and the flare, the infrared device, that's the only thing that changes. Now we're just operating in a darkened area.
Okay, and we can notice
What? You've never voted? Babe, you never voted? Well, duh, you can't vote till you're 18
now
anyways.
there are quite a few vehicles pulled off to the side of the road, on the side
What, you voted in 2018?
of the 210 freeway. We just turned that air map back, that sky map back up, so we know we are
Back
still
in
on the 210
elementary
eastbound,
school?
deep in San Bernardino County at this point, and yet this driver is showing no signs of stopping. This began as a pursuit up in Ventura County when it started as some sort of traffic stop. Obviously, this person did not stop, got on the freeway southbound there, traveled the entire distance through the San Fernando Valley, through the San Gabriel Valley, and last week checked that this person was in the Ontario area. Now, Bruce, one thing I wanted to ask you about, now that we know that this suspect called the Ventura County Sheriff's Department himself and had what we're told is an extended conversation, that's something I imagine where investigators are able to learn something about this person's state of mind, which is huge in this investigation. Can you give us some insight on that?
Yeah, well, they've obviously, they were talking to him and finding out what he knows about this crime, how he's involved, his name,
No,
where
that's
he
your
lives, all that
choice.
information. And hopefully they've re-racked that phone conversation and played it back to see, is this person calm or are they erratic? Because they're driving, to me and to everybody involved who's watching us, seems very controlled, very calm.
Right, and while we know that this is somebody who's wanted for some sort of attempted murder, this has been a relatively undangerous police pursuit that's gone on for, gosh, 80 miles at this point.
And we have not used the term slow speed because that's not what it's been. But Bruce, when people do describe pursuits as a slow speed
Do
pursuit,
what?
mile per hour are we usually talking about?
Well, typically, you have
No,
pursuits,
they can't.
anything over 20 miles an hour, we would consider a high-speed pursuit. There are certain pursuit guidelines that and different agencies have.
What?
Residential streets, highway. I mean, if they're going 100 miles an hour on a vacant freeway like this,
Yeah.
is that dangerous? It can be, but typically it's not. But if they were doing that kind of speed on a residential street, that pursuit probably would be canceled and be surveilled by the helicopter just for everyone's safety.
And we do want to update you that as we've gone from Ventura County to LA County, now in San Bernardino County, passing from Ontario to Rancho Cucamonga, we can confirm that we are now in the Fontana area on the 210 freeway.
Oh,
It
geez,
does appear
now
this
they're
driver
in
has passed,
Fontana.
15 is
Oh,
not too far
no.
from the 215 freeway in San Bernardino County, again, in the Fontana area, not too far from Rialto. And we are planning on staying with this, even though we will go off the air in a few minutes. We can, of course, continue our coverage on streaming, Hulu, wherever you stream, including the ABC7 app.
Yeah, we're going to wrap up our coverage here on air in just a moment. But Bruce, as we do so, and we know CHP is still following this attempted murder suspect, anything that you can tell us as you've been watching this for an hour and a half now, any insights that you've gained to pass on to our viewers?
Yeah, it seems that CHP is going to be very content in following this pursuit or staying in a pursuit of this suspect based on the information that they've gained and the suspect talking to Ventura County Dispatch. So CHP is not going anywhere, and they're very content to hand it off to additional units and stations as they go further east, and probably will continue with the spike strips.
We're well into the Fontana area, and we're coming up in just a few minutes on sunset, so it's going to begin getting dark on this situation. It's still not clear if this person has an intended destination, but this began all the way up in Ventura County as some sort of traffic stop. The person did not stop, and CHP has been pursuing that person ever since. So we're going to continue our coverage over on abc7.com, and if you're following us on our app, you can stay with it as well. Liz Nagy alongside Josh Haskell, and we've got Bruce Thomas, our law enforcement expert, with us. Stick with us to see exactly how this comes to a conclusion.
As this pursuit continues through the Fontana area.
Not right now.
If you are just joining us on our streaming app or perhaps our website, you are watching a pursuit that began up in Ventura County sometime in the 5 o'clock hour. We have been following this for a good hour here on ABC7 and ABC7.com. What you are watching is the California Highway Patrol pursuing a driver behind the wheel of a black Subaru SUV. This began as some sort of traffic stop up in the Ventura County area. That person obviously did not comply with Sheriff Department demands.
There you go.
With that traffic stop on the 101 South and followed all the way through the San Fernando Valley, Glendale, and pick up the 210 freeway east. That person has been on the 210 freeway east
I
since that.
forced him to go out.
I want to show you something. What? I'm trying to stream you guys.
I want to show you something.
Hurry up then.
Look back here.
Oh, bet. Bet.
Well, what? Yeah, I saw. Of course he is.
He's
We are now well past the Fontana area in San Bernardino County. This person is wanted for some sort of attempted murder, but we've not gotten details about the situation this person may be connected to. The California Highway Patrol has tried on at least 3 separate occasions to stop this driver with spike strips, all of them, as you can see, unsuccessful. But Josh, we have not seen any real excessive speed, and this driver has been on the exact same road for most times.
And we're showing you a little video right now from earlier of one of those spike strip attempts. As Bruce Thomas, who is with us, as he pointed out, those spike strips normally about 9 feet, of course, on a freeway.
It's fine,
Very difficult
just
when you are in the middle lane. You can easily switch lanes if you see that safety officer on the side of the road. I also want to point out how an interesting development that our newsroom was able to clarify, that the suspect actually called dispatch in Ventura County during this pursuit from their cell phone, from the vehicle, and that was when the CHP was able to speak with the Ventura County sheriffs and figure out exactly, started as a traffic violation, but this is indeed a pursuit of an attempted murder suspect.
So a very dangerous situation. We do now know that this person is in the Rialto area coming up on 215 East. Bruce, we have been pointing out that this driver has been going somewhere in the 60-mile-per-hour range for the majority of this time and has not attempted to get off the freeway at all. And while this is not safe, certainly, for other drivers on the road, this driver does not appear to be putting other people in immediate danger.
Yeah, what we've seen is this person staying pretty much in the lanes that they're staying in. Their speeds are not dangerously over the speed limit. Luckily, traffic is very light for a Sunday evening on these freeways. So at this point, there's a lot of process for law enforcement in this pursuit. It's kind of just a wait and see.
Hang on, Cole. Let me see what I can do.
It does appear that this driver is going to have to make some sort of a
Electric
decision.
something, does she work today?
Freeway. They
Did she have
are
a job?
very close right now, passing Rialto, not too far from Moscoy, and we know that
Does she have
either
a
they'll
tag?
stay on the 210 freeway,
What's her tag
which we know wraps
name?
around and can
I don't
connect
know.
to the 215. They could get off at the 215, but there
Why
will
didn't
have to be
she-
some decision made.
Why didn't she
soon,
answer?
as you, I'm
She
not
just
sure too familiar with that area, but we're very close to the
walked
215
in.
interchange.
Yeah, at some point, the suspect is going to have to make a decision, like you said, to either stay and continue east,
She
or
didn't.
possibly go north and or south.
No, I'm
But I
calling.
think it looks like they're very content to stay in the lane and just stay east. But we will wait and see.
Well, the car, it appears it's difficult to tell when we can only
Sorry,
see the
and
SUV
the
here. It appears
camera.
to me as though this car is slowing down just a little bit. I wonder if because that decision has to be made in a few miles, if perhaps the person knows where they are, or at least is following
I
road
can't
signs
be
that
in
they're
the
seeing out there and
camera.
is trying to make a decision about what they
Stood
are
over
going to
a
do.
bit.
Bruce.
Yeah, or they're
I
just very content to stay in that lane as
She
they know
not
this area or the area
answer.
coming up, and they want to continue eastbound. But it does look
Did
like
she
there is
not
some
answer?
transition
Why didn't she
freeway
answer?
lanes coming up, and hopefully
she
they
not
will either make a
answer?
decision. Obviously, the best
Why she
decision is
not
to pull over the side of the road
answering?
and let CHP do their felonies traffic stop.
There's the airship right
Are we
there, the
busy?
San Bernardino
San Bernardino
County.
County Sheriff's Deputy following and getting in on this. So now we have multiple law enforcement agencies that have
She
been
told
involved in
me
this pursuit. When
yesterday
this finally comes to an end, and at some
today.
point it will come to
There's
some
the 215.
sort of conclusion.
Here we
Let's
go.
watch to see what happens here.
Looks like the vehicle
Were you
is
too
staying
busy
on
or something?
210.
Is it possible for Airstone to put the sky map back up there?
Are we FaceTiming her
And Bruce, while we
instead?
watch what decision this driver decides to make, I did want to ask you, three failed.
We've got another, I'm sorry, another
She-
blinker happening here. So
I
this
think
is a very courteous driver who led police on quite a pursuit at this point. It looks like they're getting off at some point.
Yes, it does look
Where
like
are we headed?
they are making that decision that we've been talking about, getting onto a different freeway right now. Yes, the driver switching from the 210 freeway to the 215
Who's
north. It
calling
appears.
you?
Yes, that is-
Daniel
oh,
knows
the
I'm
driver-
streaming too.
Is this the driver? No,
no,
that's another driver
another
on the
driver
road.
pulling
I know
over.
This
that
is
you're
where things can kind of
streaming
get
and
confusing. And Bruce, we haven't had to deal with this
talk to
for quite a
her.
while now because we noticed that most of the drivers are pulling over and it hasn't come into
What
contact
did
with
she
people.
say?
What happens when this person ultimately starts coming across more traffic at some point,
What
whether
did
it's
she
on the
say?
freeway
Is she
or perhaps
busy?
on city streets?
Yes, she's at work.
Having multiple, lanes that with
She was
heavier
at work. That's
traffic
why I
kind of works
asked.
to their advantage because
I
it means
know.
the
Where does
suspect
she
has to
work
slow
at?
up. We
Who's
haven't
telling
seen
you?
him with that urgency to pass vehicles or do
Who's
unsafe
telling
maneuvers.
you?
Bailey,
So it
because
kind of
I
works
don't
in
know
law
what's going
enforcement's
on with
favor.
them.
However, with the advent of the sun going down, it's a dark colored
Bailey
vehicle.
doesn't need to tell you
Having
when
a
he's
helicopter
here.
with the night sun
Like,
overhead,
it's
it
the
does
car
create some other
door?
issues for law
No,
enforcement.
no.
We know the
Probably.
vehicle is not too far from Cal State University San Bernardino.
No,
The
it isn't.
vehicle
Why is he
changed from the
calling
210 to
us so
215,
early?
passing downtown San Bernardino, now heading north on the 215 towards DeVore, not too far from the well-known Glen Helen Amphitheater. And I wanted to ask you about those three failed spike strip attempts, Bruce. Is that pretty common that that is something that would happen, be deployed on a freeway pursuit? And is it usually successful? Obviously, this time it was not.
It's kind of a hit and miss with a spike strip. They're only so long in length and, about 9 feet or so. So you're trying to cover multiple lanes. The suspect could stay in the number, 2 fast lane, and the suspect could avoid the spike strips. DHV tried 3 times. They were 0 for 3, but that may be common. We have seen it before. I remember I had one instance where I deployed the spike strip on a very narrow street from the city of West Hollywood to Beverly Hills.
Calling you.
I'll be right back, guys.
I want to talk to you. What? What do you mean? What? Yeah, I'm gonna. I'm gonna. Yes. Yeah. 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 He needs
I'm
come
trying to
back.
get you go poop.
Now he needs a little poop.
Chloe, I'm trying to get her to go poop. Chloe, fuck off.
What did he do?
Chloe.
It worked out just fine because there were only 2 lanes of traffic. But when you try to cover multiple lanes, that really becomes problematic for them.
No.
When we zoom in here, sometimes we try.
What? What? Upstairs.
We're coming.
Hey.
Very beautiful.
Are you okay?
Yeah, let's call.
Are you okay?
What's fine? Oh,
Okay.
come in.
Okay. Clean up. Do you clean up?
Yes.
Okay. Here is post. There's no poop. What? We did it!
Sorry,
A
guys.
glimpse inside the vehicle
I was on
as
the
we are
phone.
right now. From this vantage point, you can't see anything.
Hi.
Best we can tell that this is a male
What
driver
your
with some
phone?
sort of orange T-shirt
I
on. At
like
one
it.
point, the
Okay,
driver had
okay,
both
okay.
hands on the wheel. We do know that the driver personally
Lay down.
called Ventura Sheriff's Dispatch himself. But when we get those
I'm
zoomed
not
in shots,
doing
what
any
are you looking
pictures.
for in the vehicle?
Go
You
lay
know, the
down,
same thing you
please.
guys are looking for.
I wanna lay by
Is the
you.
suspect rummaging through stuff?
I wanna
Is
lay by
he
you.
Go lay down,
excited?
please.
Are they, consuming any kind of liquids,
Go
possibly
lay down,
alcohol,
please.
smoking, those
Sit
type of
with
things?
you.
But we're not seeing that. The suspect almost has his hands in.
Chloe, you're not helping.
I want to sit with you.
You are by laying down.
Are you okay?
Alright, guys, I don't know what's going on with the motherfucking camera.
Intended to. They're a little further down. Very calmly are they going about their business.
So we can tell you that the suspect is still on the 215 North near the Lytle Creek area, and that is when the suspect coming up is going to have to make a decision whether they transfer
Don't
to
tell
the
me you
15
did what you
freeway
just did,
or they
bitch.
get on the 138. That is the next
No.
option.
Well,
As we
I
know,
shouldn't have
this
to
pursuit
fucking
now
use
from
all my
Inland
weight
Empire, we
to
can tell you it
pull
started in Ventura
him
County,
towards
then
me.
made its way on the
Oh,
101 South
yeah.
through LA County, then took the 134
I
east
shouldn't
to
have.
210 East, leaving LA County into San Bernardino County, and this is where we find ourselves right now. There have been, as Bruce just said, the CHP over 3 on spike strip attempts. That does
I'm
not
more
mean that they will
than
not
here.
try again.
Yeah.
Obviously, more
I'm more
narrow
than you,
freeway right
bet.
now. Most
Yeah.
of the time we've seen this driver in the middle lane on a
it's glitchy.
45-lane freeway. Now we're looking at just 2 lanes right now.
Yeah,
Now,
the
many
cameras.
places for this driver to
I'm not
go.
worried about the
At one
camera
point, we thought there
anymore.
might have been a
It's
passenger inside that vehicle, but it
been
did appear to
doing
be
that.
belonging something in the front seat.
Why so
As
much
Liz
shit
just
on the
pointed out, a
198?
courteous driver at times putting
And he can pull me. You're 70. Last time I checked. No, you're not. No, I'm putting this away.
Oh, that's Chloe's shit.
Paul, putting this away.
He's putting your jacket so he doesn't chew on it, okay?
You
Fair?
sniffed it.
Yeah. He was trying to chew it.
the turn signal on, rolling down the window at times, and staying really in the same speed range of 60 to 70 miles per hour.
And Bruce, we keep talking about this, but because this has been going on for well over an hour and a half at
I
this
know.
point, CHP investigators have to be looking for patterns on this driver. We noticed that this person continues to use their turn signals. At one point, they called the sheriff's dispatch center themselves. So investigators might have a pretty good idea here of the kind of person they're dealing with.
Yeah, very, very astute.
Harry chewed out my
The way
jacket.
you phrased it. They have
You're
been
an
working
asshole.
on this person. They've obviously talked to them.
You're a
They know who
baller.
this person is, what type
Fuck
of crime
off.
they're really wanted for, and I'm sure
Yeah.
they're trying to be in communication
Beautiful.
again with them to say, look,
No, he's like this, babe.
Yes.
Look.
Yes, babe.
let's just end this. And the other thing too is how much gas was left in
Yes,
that Subaru
right.
when we started. You know, was it a quarter tank? Was it a full tank? How much more of a distance can this vehicle go before it runs out of gas?
All right, this is a person that started this pursuit up in Ventura County, so they have had to have gone over 100 miles at this point. And I was just thinking of that as we talked about their fuel left in Air 7 at this point.
And not that this will dramatically impact this pursuit, but you can see that one of the front lights on the vehicle is out, appears to be out. That left headlight does appear to be out, but
And you're getting
as
into
you
a
pointed
more
out, sunset.
you're getting into a more remote area. You can see that the daylight is changing. That's going to very much change in the next 20 minutes or so. And Bruce, talking about this person's state of mind, given that they called the Sheriff's Dispatch Center themselves, clearly investigators have a phone number for the person they're dealing with. There has to be some sort of, for lack of a better term, high-speed hostage negotiation type thing going on here.
They ought to have, somewhat more experience in the dispatch center, meaning not just the 911 operator possibly, has tried to call this person to try to talk to them, to try to say, okay, what can we do for you? What can you help us with?
Huh? Yeah. Hang on, guys. Oh my god. Not there. Oh. Handle. Handle.
So now we have this.
Type of thing.
Sorry to
Yeah, now
interrupt,
we're seeing a
Bruce.
little bit of
Nothing
erratic maneuver as they
expressed.
try and get around this tractor trailer. We keep another
So
failed
we're now
strike attempt.
over.
God damn it. I'm trying to get him. Let's go. Let's go party. Handle. Let's go. No. I can. That's up in there for a while. Bad. That's not in there. Where did that come? You see that too, right? You little shit. That's not right there, babe. It was bad. I'm watching. You're not.
Before California Highway Patrol trying to lay down a spike strip. You saw this vehicle at one point. It looked like they were
Sorry.
trying to possibly go on the shoulder to get around this truck, but that
Now we
did
know
not
why.
work.
Right now we know why they were trying to evade that spike strip out there. So as Josh just pointed out, 0 for 4 on spike strips here, which, as you mentioned, are very
Just
tricky maneuvers to
shut
try and pull off on the freeway.
Just
Perhaps
let
does
me
this person maybe
finish
know that,
this
and that's why
real
they've not
quick.
gotten off and tried side streets?
I think that they probably have seen the CHP vehicle there, and they've seen the spike strips. As it gets darker, they're more hard to pick up. But also, we haven't seen CHP kind of seen them funnel the vehicle toward the spike strip yet either. And as it gets dark, they may just, abandon that attempt with the spike strips and just being content to stay in pursuit, follow them with the helicopter with the night sun.
And we talked about, I'm sorry about this, Josh. We talked about this before, but so often people tend to either go home or go to an area
Yeah.
that they know very well. This person, does it appear to you as though they're doing that, or are they, if you had to guess, driving in a more meandering fashion and just sort of making this up as they go?
Yeah.
You hate to make assumptions or to guess, but in this case, I think the suspect is just driving haphazardly, eastbound, northbound, whichever way this freeway is going, and whatever area they live in, they've already passed that. So at this point, they're just going to be content in driving until the vehicle runs out of gas or a spike strip is successful.
Location we have from our assignment desk is still on the 215, approaching the 15 freeway in the DeVore Heights area. I do want to point out that this started as a traffic violation in Ventura County. We do not know exactly what Ventura County Sheriff deputies tried to pull over this vehicle for, what that violation was, but through coordination, conversation, our assignment desk was told an extensive. Oh, it looks like a tire just came off of that Subaru right now. We have to imagine maybe our assignment desk was told an extensive. Oh, it looks like a tire just came off of that Subaru right now. We have to imagine maybe that has something to do with one of the spike strip attempts. We don't know for sure. Obviously, a car could just lose a tire. What's your take on
Doesn't
this,
appear
Bruce?
to be on the passenger side, right?
It's on the driver's
looks
side.
like it's on the driver's side.
We're not seeing any
It
sparks.
seems that maybe that fourth spike strip attempt with the tractor trailer truck that we saw
We're about
actually
to
was
get dinner.
successful, and they did get a couple of those little kind of pitons into the tire and deflated it, and now it has come off, which is good for law enforcement.
Would we be seeing any type of sparks, though, Bruce? Oh, the car does appear to be stopping at this. Or
They're slowing down significantly, if not stopping, although it does appear that the driver's pretty determined here, as we've seen most of the way. And it appears, look at the front left tire is wobbling quite a bit. So this person may be sort of on their last leg, so to speak, Bruce. And this has to be sort of a big break for law enforcement, well over 100 miles in.
Yeah, very much so. And I'm not an expert on Subarus. Dave would probably be able to tell you. But I don't know if they're front-wheel drive and this type of
All-wheel drive vehicles. So this person may have good control over the vehicle, but nevertheless, they're dealing with a damaged vehicle at this point as the sun starts to go down.
And we, of course, are in the mountainous area, I believe back on the 15 freeway. We've already passed Lytle Creek. You can see there's not too many homes or businesses around here. And this vehicle has not tried to get off the freeway a single time since we've been on this pursuit. They continue in around the middle of the freeway, but obviously.
1 second.
I will give it. I will give it. I will give it. I can't. Keep on. What?
It's 6 o'clock.
Oh,
What do you want for dinner?
um,
Go talk to Bailey and see what you want. She wants.
Quesadilla. I'll put.
Do you want pizza?
you have to give me up.
What?
We're on the taco shells, okay?
Shells for it.
Do you want like pizza or something?
I want the chicken. I want chicken.
You want chicken?
Yeah. Chicken.
1 second.
Oh, come here. I am back. Because that wasn't there. I don't know what that was there. I've been there for a while. Well, I've been up here for a while. I would notice. Look at this. Look at my, look. At my spot.
Yeah.
Look at my.
Yeah. But I already done it a while ago.
You just did it. When I was talking with in your room.
Oh.
It had to be just when we went inside.
Yeah.
Like,
You want pizza?
oh,
Oh, you want pizza? No, nuggets.
I'm not getting McDonald's.
You want some cookie dough from?
You know what?
Want some,
Yeah.
you want the cookie dough? Bailey can get you some cookie dough.
Where's the cookie go?
Yes.
Where's the cookie go?
Or do you just want chicken nuggets?
You didn't have pizza and I didn't have chicken nuggets.
Well, she said. Yeah, they running your plan.
Beautiful.
Stop that. Put your hand out.
I'm in a bus.
Look out.
No, he's big second.
Lay down. Let me finish my stream and I'll leave right out.
But
Hurry!
he
Stay.
wants to you.
He's gonna have to wait like 20 minutes.
He wants to just go like that.
Do you want to do with Chloe?
Right.
You want to do that with Chloe?
It's you.
Kansas.
Having to slow down a little bit
Sorry,
because of those
guys.
tire issues following what we believe was a successful fourth spike strip
Come lay
attempt
down.
by the CHP.
Right
At
here.
one point, Liz, just a minute ago, it looked like the CHP was kind of
Yes,
trying to
I
position
know.
fan out in case this car would stop in the middle of the freeway.
Right,
Yeah,
there's also,
I
we're
hear
moving
ya.
pretty tight at this point, but CHP appears to be giving the car some
Yep.
distance. This car has not been going very fast for the duration of this pursuit. It seems to be trying to maintain whatever speed it can, but that ultimately will be out of the person's control. So what's going on here? I mean, does CHP know that this is going to be their moment soon, trying to give this some distance, and the driver will ultimately meet his fate pretty soon?
Yeah, very much so. Right now, all the units are talking to each other. You have a field supervisor, hopefully, in this pursuit, which is going to explain to the units what he or she wants them to do, meaning how to fan out over the freeway, who's going to do the traffic break, etc. But it looks like from Air 7 HD's vantage point, it's the front left driver's side tire. I don't know if that's what you guys are seeing also.
That
Yes.
appears to be what we're looking at as well.
And
Yes.
it did look from Air 7 that the tire did come off the
Fully,
car,
right.
but then when we zoomed in on that front left tire, there was still at least part of it still on the vehicle. And at this point, I know, Bruce, you pointed out you're not a Subaru expert, but you've covered enough of these pursuits. It does seem like at this point we would see sparks, but we have not seen any sort of sparks. Could that be because the car is just not going very fast, or there's still enough rubber to protect that axle?
Very much so. It could be because there's still some rubber on that tire and the rim area, and because they're all-wheel drive, it's not powering the vehicle. So, but eventually you're going to run that rubber down, and you are going to see them riding on the rim, and you will see sparks eventually. But right now, not so much.
All right, on the right side of your screen right there for viewers who may not have been watching when this happened, this was just a few minutes ago when CHP attempted that spike strip. We saw the car go off the road right there on the shoulder. That was likely when the car may have clipped the spike strip, attempted to avoid it, and may not have been able to do so, got on the left side of this tractor trailer to pass it. And just a few minutes later, you'll see here in just a minute, that's when we watched the tire come rolling off that vehicle at somewhat of a high rate of speed. Now, this driver has been going in the 60-some-mile-an-hour range for most of this pursuit that began well up into Ventura County, all the way through Los Angeles County and deep into San Bernardino County at this point. Bruce, one other thing I noticed just a minute ago when you and Josh were speaking is that the driver rolled down the window for a moment. We were able to get a better glimpse inside the window, but then for some reason rolled the window right back up. So it didn't last long enough to really see if there was anything that was thrown out of the vehicle. I didn't see that happen, but we are starting to see a few changes in behavior from this person, probably at least 120 miles into this pursuit.
Yeah, we are seeing that. We are seeing the vehicle slow down, drive at a slower speed, get into the much slower lanes, even though there's only a couple of lanes on this particular freeway or transition road freeway. So, yeah, we have seen that, and hopefully the suspect is thinking about slowing down and pulling over.
To recap for our viewers, just within the last 15 minutes, we've seen this vehicle go from the 210 east to the 15 freeway to the 215, back on the 15 freeway, passing the Cajon Junction. That is the latest update we have on the exact location of where this pursuit was. Not too far from Victorville. We'll have to see if this vehicle does stay on the 15 freeway and does head towards Victorville, but we can tell you in the video that we just showed you that that fourth attempt by the California Highway Patrol spike strip attempt was successful. That front left driver's side tire is flat at this point. That has significantly reduced the speed at which the Subaru is traveling. I don't know if we can bring up the current speed right now. This pursuit at times had reached 80, 90, but really has been in the 60, 70, not a super fast pursuit. The driver staying in the middle. And right now, I have to imagine that this is the slowest the vehicle has traveled. I don't know if we can pull up how fast it's going right now, but it looks to me, Liz, 40 miles per hour?
Yeah,
50?
it's difficult to tell because there are no other cars on the road, so there's no way to compare it. But this driver is certainly not driving erratically and has not been for most of this pursuit. Now, if you're just joining us, this pursuit likely began about 2 hours ago. We've been following it since the top of the 6 o'clock hour, and this began up in Ventura County as some sort of attempted traffic stop by the Ventura County Sheriff's Office. That traffic stop was obviously not successful. This person jumped on the 101 South, and that is where the California Highway Patrol picked up this entire pursuit that has been going ever since. And CHP has been following this car since they picked it up in Ventura County on the 101 South. That person drove on the 101 South all the way through the San Fernando Valley, picked up the 134 and headed east through Pasadena, Glendale, Burbank, picked up several other freeways, now 15 north headed toward Victorville. And this person was wanted for attempted murder. And we now know from the Ventura County Sheriff's Department that at some point this person, the driver of this vehicle, called the dispatch center himself, had an extended conversation with one of the sheriff's deputies. And that's in fact when they were able to clarify that this person was wanted in connection to an attempted murder. Now, we don't know any more about that situation, an attempted murder against who or how this may have been involved, what happened. What we also still don't know here is if there's anybody else in this vehicle. We've not seen any signs of a passenger or anybody in the back seat. We haven't seen the back windows roll down at any point. We just know that police have tried 4 different times to use spike strips to stop this driver, and only one, that very last one, was somewhat successful. But this car has to have driven maybe 20 miles or so, Josh, would you say, since that spike strip attempt?
Yeah, but that persistence by the CHP paying off with that fourth attempt, and I have to imagine Bruce Thomas is with us, that they will continue to try, possibly from a different side of the road, to try and get one of those other tires. This is not something they're going to stop now that it's been successful. Would you agree, Bruce?
No, they're talking about it. Whether they will actually do it as the sun starts to set and gets darker, that becomes some other issues. Or they may just be very content to let this tire deflate totally and come apart. I'm not sure if these are run flat tires or what they have, but we definitely saw a good chunk of this tire go off the rim. So it's just a matter of waiting to see what happens now.
And as the light begins to change, does this, and this stretches on into its second hour, does this become an advantage for law enforcement, or does this become an advantage for the
Roman
driver?
stream for an hour.
While the pursuit's going on, the advantage would be for law enforcement.
30 minutes ago.
I'm in stream.
Because they have the helicopter with the night sun that will illuminate the area. However, if it does become a terminus of the pursuit or it becomes a footbail, that becomes part of the advantage of the suspect, and then law enforcement has to flood the area and contain it and control the area where the suspect is.
And if
so
there
it's
is
kind of half and half at this point.
Understood. And if there is good news here, it is that this driver has not really put other drivers in danger. This person has stayed relatively, traveling the 60-some mile per hour range. They've not been erratically driving through traffic. They've not gotten off the freeway at any point and driven through city streets. So as far as that goes for law enforcement, they have been able to maintain safety, at least to the general public, Bruce.
Victor
very much so. This has been one of our safer, if you can use that word,
Right.
pursuits.
It's a clock.
Traffic has been very, very light.
Exactly.
They stayed on the freeway.
You
They
need
haven't
that
really
clock.
endangered too many vehicles or too many
clock.
uninvolved motorists. So in this case, you know, it's a good thing.
And we can tell you, as far as location goes, we've passed the Cajon
No.
Junction, we've passed Cajon Pass. It does appear that this vehicle is approaching the Victorville area, but traveling at a not as
slower
fast
speed.
as the car was going because it's lost one of its tires. The next big area that it would approach would be Victorville. Not quite there yet. You can see traffic building on the other side of the freeway, but we have barely seen any vehicles. And I do want to point out during that fourth spike strip attempt, it was interesting that there was actually a big rig. That it appeared to us that the car was possibly trying to go around that big rig, but it was clearly actually trying to avoid a spike strip. Not successful. CHP was successful, but clearly the car has three, it appears to be functioning tires at this point. And as Liz pointed out, it's been able to go now for the last 20 plus minutes. We're showing you that scene from earlier again, that successful fourth spike strip attempt. The car, we cannot pull up the exact mile per hour right now, but we can tell you that it's going much slower than it has, and that is because it does not have a inflated
Inflated tire, right. And this car can't be going much more than, Bruce, would you say maybe 45 miles per hour or so if you had to guess watching this?
Yeah, based on what I'm seeing, I'm thinking maybe in the 40 to 50 mile an hour range. They definitely slowed down drastically.
And it appears to me, again, I don't know if, we've just been watching this so long, but it appears as though the car's slowing down even more. On the one side of your screen, you're seeing that tire come off, and it appears as though that tire came off perfectly intact at the moment when that rolled off, right, Bruce?
Yeah, it did. It looked like it was, it looked like an intact tire that came off. But yet, I think as Air 7 HD pushes into the shot, we can see the rim. But as far as is there still some rubber on that rim, it appears that there was, or still is.
What does law enforcement possibly know about this car, the person inside, or the situation that led to this that we don't know? And what questions are they asking right now?
And if only we could have the recording of that conversation between the suspect and Ventura County Dispatch.
Yeah, very much so. We know what kind of car it is. We know where it's registered. We know who the registered owner of the vehicle is. As far as the additional information that you're speaking of, we don't have that available to us. But we do know as much as we can about this vehicle. Where does this vehicle live? Where does it reside? And who is the registered owner?
And because the sheriff's deputies actually spoke to this driver himself, I have to imagine they've pulled up as much information as they can possibly find on this person, any potential criminal record that may be involved, any traffic violations over time, where this person lives, and who they're associated with, right?
Yeah, very much so. They are doing what they call a whole workup on this person, running the vehicle, and then going backwards from there. They also have the phone number to this person, so they can cross-reference that phone number and find out also where that phone resides. Is it the same location as the registered owner of the vehicle, or is it a different location? So that's the kind of information that they're getting. But at this point, it's all conjecture as to can they talk to the suspect.
We do now have SkyMap back up, Bruce, and we were pretty close on our estimate there. And in fact, that car's actually going a little slower than we thought, somewhere between 38 and 40 miles per hour.
Let me see
so
where
the car has
it's
clearly
at.
been damaged and impeded by that tire flying.
Let me look at something.
Yeah,
Let
and
me
we
look
do have an
at
update on the location,
something.
still on the 15 freeway north, and
In Mount Baldy and Wrightwood area.
yeah, but I believe still kind of heading towards Victorville because it would have to get off on the 138 or the 18 freeway in order to get to the Palmdale Lancaster area. So since it's still on the 15 north, we can tell you that it is the next area that that we're looking at would be Victorville, and then of course further up Barstow. People, we know motorists in our area very familiar with the 15 freeway if you drive to Las Vegas and other areas. And I'm sure normally on a Sunday we know that we've seen some of that traffic heading back towards LA County, but at this point, especially in this section, Liz, we have
Was
not
it
seen
plugged
any
in?
traffic
I
at all,
thought
and
it
barely any
was.
other vehicles, and it makes me, I don't know if Air 7 can zoom out at all, but it makes me wonder what
That's
things
why
look
I wanna
like
look
out in
at
front of this
something.
vehicle if all the exits have been shut down, if other cars are even on the road at this point.
And Bruce, I noticed as Air 7 zooms out a little, I can't tell if it's more vehicles, but we have at least half a dozen CHP vehicles following this car. You can now see as the daylight is changing, it very much just has one headlight that it is using to see. So they are at a disadvantage here. This driver has one headlight heading through a dark mountainous region. They have three tires. One has come off the vehicle. And this person has been driving for easily 120 to 140 miles or something at this point.
And we're approaching 30 minutes
You
where
want
this
the
driver's been
laptop
around
or
40
the
miles per
HP?
hour. So I was thinking ahead a little bit. Okay, maybe they've reached Victorville.
Gotta
They're not even
wait.
there yet.
Shut up, you
You see
two.
that, when you're traveling that speed, it's going to take you quite a bit longer.
So Bruce, we were just talking about this. This has to be then advantage law enforcement here at this point. The person's driving with one headlight and three tires.
Yeah, the fact that they're driving one headlight, it's a really unique vehicle now. So law enforcement and the helicopter is going to be able to see that with no issues. The fact that they've lost the tire and are on the rim.
Shut up!
As Josh said, we haven't seen the deflating of whatever's left on that rim
Just
and
ignore
see
it.
the sparks from that rim. So it's just a matter of time, and I'm very surprised.
You always
but
want to
obviously
get the last
this type of
word in,
vehicle
kiddo, so
sustain
just...
that damage.
And the latest update that we do have from our assignment desk is that the car is indeed approaching Victorville. If this car continues on the 15 north, which it appears it will, because we have really not seen it switch freeways too often, after Victorville, it would hit Barstow, and then, of course, move into the Fort Irwin Baker area, and then continue on possibly. I don't think that it has, who knows if it has enough gas to even continue on out of the state of California. Quite a ways to go, especially if you're traveling at 40 miles per hour.
Right, and Bruce, given that this has gone on for so long and this driver is clearly disadvantaged at this point, is CHP eager to bring this to an end, or as you have said several times, are they Are they more than content to just sort of run out the clock on this and allow the driver to come to its own conclusion, and this will stop eventually?
Yeah, they'd like this to come to an end. There's a drain on resources, even though it's slow speed. It is a pursuit. It's very taxing on the officers involved in this. But the question is, how much further is this vehicle going to go? You know, Josh, is it going to go all the way to Vegas or maybe to Baker, California, or to wherever it's going north at this point?
And as we say this, we're seeing a little bit of change of pattern here. It appears as though there are several more CHP cars gaining some distance on this vehicle right now. There appear to be more of them. They appear to be closing in on this car. What do you think is happening here?
It looks like they're probably changing out vehicles, meaning they've gone to the edge of one of their patrol areas and they're now into another area, possibly the Victorville units. That's what it looks like. I'm seeing there units that are familiar with that area and do patrol that area on a daily basis. So they're just basically just swapping out to keep fresh units involved.
And I do have an update on our location. This driver not at Victorville yet, actually in the Oak Hills, Hesperia, just a little Hesperia area, just a little south of Victorville. And we are staying with this pursuit, which is now roughly around, as long as we can, which is roughly around 40 miles per hour, which is why you know, the CHP continues to keep their distance. But the number of vehicles does seem to be increasing in the last couple minutes, and their posture. I know that Bruce pointed out maybe they're switching out, but it does seem like we have not. It's been quite a bit of time since we have not seen a fifth spike strip attempt at this point. We don't know if that is what they're planning coming up, but we do see that SUV kind of moving up. It's interesting to see if they change it all.
Exercising, what? Exercising.
Southbound, you see there's traffic building.
I don't know how
there are a
to
lot of
describe
cars
it.
going the other direction, and yet on 15 northbound there's no one.
You're
except for
moving
this,
around.
Semi-disabled vehicle that has been evading law enforcement for 2 hours now.
And I think a lot of our viewers are familiar with that terrible commute from Vegas home on a Sunday to LA County and in other parts of Southern California. That's the traffic we're seeing. But as Liz points out, we have not really seen any other vehicles now for the last 20 to 30 minutes. Besides that big one,
I'm going to go outside and run.
Was law enforcement able to get out there and sort of close some of these entrance ramps, or is this just simply a less popular traffic route?
Yeah, it seems like, well, maybe a combination of both. People are leaving and coming home from Vegas, and we know that freeway can just be a nightmare going southbound from there into the LA area. But also, it may appear that CHP or other units have closed off freeway on-ramps to control the amount of traffic that is in that area also.
Okay.
We did see that one driver pulled over, it looked like. So obviously this has been going on long enough that people who are traveling the 215 freeway and now in the Victorville area, seems like a lot of drivers are aware of this. I will tell you that it's been quite some time since we've seen crowds on the overpasses, but we haven't seen as many overpasses, and this is not as populated as an area, but we are approaching more populated areas, Hesperia. You can see actually one of the possibly San Bernardino County Sheriff helicopters shining their spotlight now for the first time on that vehicle.
Bruce, we talked about that just a few minutes ago about what was going to change when the sun went down, and we are now
Can you
right
see
at that
how
time now,
long it is?
7:02. And you said the airship would be using its spotlight to light up the suspect, and there it is, right there, exactly what you said. What's happening?
Yeah, the airship is using that night sun to illuminate the suspect vehicle, and also if any vehicles are in that immediate area, to let them know there is some sort of hazard or some sort of situation that they may be coming upon as motorists. So they're kind of warning them, but also the night sun is used on the suspect vehicle to let them know that, hey, there are vehicles behind you with lights and siren on, but we're above you and you're not going anywhere. So that may just put a little more pressure on the suspect.
Yeah, I have to wonder that. Is that sort of almost an unintended intimidation, or perhaps intended intimidation factor on the driver of, you may have been evading us for this long, but we're still on you?
Yeah, exactly. They're not going to get right up on the suspect vehicle to force their hand, so to speak, to cause them to do some dangerous maneuvers and or driving. But they want them as a gentle reminder, we're still here. We're not going anywhere.
It appears as though this driver, again, it's difficult to tell without any other cars or without the sky map out there. It appears to me as though the driver's picking up a little bit of speed, perhaps not going as slow in the 30 to 40 mile per hour range as the person was going, which is remarkable given that it's probably easily been a half hour since we saw that tire come flying off the car before.
I was actually wondering if that was a fifth spike
Yeah.
strip attempt, because you saw a CHP officer actually in the middle of the center divider there outside of his vehicle, and that's kind of what we've seen from time to time. But it even at one point with that spotlight looked like maybe the windshield was cracked. But we just, again, have seen so many belongings in that front passenger seat that it's really hard to know what exactly is inside that vehicle. I also wanted to ask you, Bruce, let's say this car slowed down, now picking up a little bit, 48 miles per hour. Let's say it slowed down to 20 miles per hour. At what point do CHP vehicles approach this vehicle, try and ram it? Is that something we might see?
Yeah, we may see a pit maneuver. Ideally, this is a great operational area, meaning you have minimal traffic or no traffic. You have a wide open freeway area with no obstructions to the left, no obstructions to the right, and the only hazard would be the center median cane rails that are there. So, and it looks like it's a fairly level area. So this would not be a bad situation for CHP to actually try to deploy a pit maneuver.
I have to imagine, given that it's getting dark now, and you have people out there commuting home, granted they're going the other direction, and you mentioned the drain on resources, that CHP has to be eager to bring this to a conclusion.
Yeah, very much so. You have multiple units that have been involved in this. They all have to, as we say, 1019, or go to the station and report what their involvement was. There is a post-pursuit form and paperwork that has to be filled out and submitted to the state of California, to the CHP in this case. So there's a lot of paperwork that's going to take place, and that causes those units to stay out of the field while they do this.
This is something that's been an incredible drain on resources, predominantly for the California Highway Patrol. We do see this car picking up just a little bit of speed over what it was a few minutes ago, 48 miles per hour. We did see it going as slow as 38 miles per hour. But this has not been a seriously high-speed pursuit for the duration of the hour and a half or so that we've been watching it.
Yeah, I hate to use the word safe, but it's been a very safe pursuit, meaning the vehicle has not done excessive speed, hasn't done dangerous maneuver, really hasn't endangered other drivers, even though the freeway is very void of that. But yeah, it's kind of an ideal situation for a pursuit, if you would say.
And we want to let our audience know that at some point soon Air 7 will run out of fuel. We're approaching 2 hours that we have been on coverage with you, taking you from Ventura County to LA County, now San Bernardino County, approaching the Victorville area. And, you know, at some point we will have to go and get fuel. But we, of course, will stay on as long as we can, because at this point, attempted murder suspect, as Bruce said, CHP not going to back off this. Because of the dangers that this person does pose, they will stay on this pursuit, and we, of course, will do our best to monitor it as well.
And Bruce, we still don't know if the person inside the vehicle is armed. That's got to be one of the biggest questions that law enforcement is considering as this perhaps comes to an end here. You have covered a lot of police pursuits with us. Is this one of the longer ones that you can think of?
It actually is. I mean, there have been a couple that have gone all the way down to San Diego from
Just
LA.
stop
so we're kind of
it!
approaching that same mileage, if you would, so to speak. But yeah, this is very surprising that this suspect is just very content to stay on the freeway and head north on the 215, or actually the 15 rather, heading toward Vegas.
Yeah, Apple Valley area, approaching Victorville. And
Slowing down again, and CHP appears to be closing in just a little bit of distance. And I know we've made a lot of the sun going down and the daylight changing, but we're going to get to a period very shortly in the next few minutes where things get very dark. You're in a pretty remote mountainous region, and it's only going to get more remote from here. Does that change the calculus too, Bruce?
It just makes things more isolated. The fact that you're on a roadway, or a freeway in this case, that is void of lights, void of traffic, void of everything. It's just a very dark desert type of drive area. So it almost makes it easier for law enforcement to follow this person because they're the only vehicle on the road.
And we don't have any information regarding whether this suspect is armed, but we can tell you that the suspect does have a cell phone, because we do know that the suspect did communicate with Ventura County Dispatch, the Ventura County Sheriff's Department, and identified himself. They were able to share that information with the CHP to confirm that this was indeed an attempted murder suspect. We don't know exactly if any communication has taken place after that first phone call, or if this person has continued to use the phone, but we do know, and Bruce, you can speak to this a little bit, that there is technology that law enforcement has that they're able to track cell phones, and that I'm sure has been helpful in this investigation.
Yeah, the technology is there. Whether they have to get a warrant to do that, to speak, that's kind of where it gets a little more dicey, so to speak. You now have to track the phone via cell towers. But they're already doing that with the vehicle. Most vehicles now have the SOS systems, or, you know, if you need help, you press a button, or OnStar, those type of things. So they've probably been in contact with the vehicle manufacturer or a Subaru type center in order to track this vehicle.
Now, we've seen this driver in just the last minute or so try and speed up and then slow down significantly. To me, that indicates that, you know, something, maybe they're getting low on fuel, or perhaps they're losing control of the car a little bit more so. You know a lot about this, Bruce. What do you think might be going on there?
You know, all the possibilities are open in this case. It could be driver fatigue, too. This person's been driving for a while now. They're very intent on trying to get away from law enforcement, so they're very fixated on the roadway in front of them, thinking, are there more spike strips out there? So they may just be tired, but it could be, to your point.
It's going to stream a little longer, but
when you bring up trying to get away from CHP officers and all the pursuits that we cover, this one strikes me as this driver has not really tried to get away. Not going incredibly fast, not erratic behavior, not getting off the freeway. This driver knows that they're cornered. They've been dealing with spike strip situations 4 times. That 4th time was successful. So at this point, it seems as though we've not seen, or maybe the car can just not go any faster because it's lost that left tire. What do you think?
That's a great possibility. We are seeing the driver slow down drastically now. Maybe there is some mechanical issues with the vehicle. Maybe they're running out of fuel, or maybe they just are on the phone saying, hey, I want to give up. What do I need to do? What can I do?
We do want to point out that we passed the Cajon Pass, past the Cajon Junction. As you can see, I don't know if Air 7 can zoom out a little bit, but we're in a more populated area now, Hesperia, Victorville. You're seeing more businesses. That looks like sort of a mini golf place, possibly. You're seeing more warehouses and more drivers. That traffic continuing southbound, but not northbound. Any cars out in front of it seem to be slowing. I don't know if that's a CHP.
Pulled over. No, it appears to be just some sort of civilian car to me. But again, this car just hugging the center lane for the duration of this pursuit that began up in Ventura County sometime in the 5 o'clock hour. Nearly more than 2.5 hours ago, Ventura County Sheriff's deputies tried to pull this car over, and you can see how that went. That person did not stop and has not stopped since. After that car got on the 101 freeway south and has led them on a pursuit for over 100 miles now. At some point, this person inside the vehicle called Ventura County Sheriff's deputies and had an extended conversation. During that time, deputies were able to learn that this person is somehow wanted for an attempted murder. It appears, based on what we've been able to see, that this male driver, is the only person inside the vehicle, but we don't know that for sure because we've not been able to get good eyes inside this black Subaru SUV that they have been pursuing since before 6 o'clock tonight.
And that is something that CHP may know based on the conversation interaction that this driver, the suspect, had with law enforcement. But yeah, this pursuit is continuing now in the Apple Valley, approaching Victorville area. And at this point, we don't know what the traffic violation was for, but we can
my
confirm attempted
phone.
murder suspect, which is why the CHP
Don't
is
want the
approaching this
laptop
pursuit
now?
the way that they have. And this person
When
you know,
you're
has been
done
kind of
streaming,
unchained
like,
in ways when they've had to.
Correct.
And that's something I think that's been interesting
And
about
they've
this.
been able to evade nearly 4 spike stripped attempts. And I say nearly because the last one was successful. The fourth one was successful in some capacity because we watched one of the tires on the vehicle come flying off a few minutes after that. The person did try and avoid it, wasn't entirely successful, but clearly it has not impaired their travel much because they've been traveling for a good distance since that happens. It appears as though they've picked speed back up again, now in the 40-mile-per-hour range. But for most of this pursuit, they've been traveling about 60, 65, no more than 90 miles per hour, and that was about an hour and a half ago when things were much more populated. So this driver seems very content to continue to evade officers and try and run out the clock. And Bruce, as you've mentioned to us, CHP is not about to give up on this. They may be strained resource-wise, but they are not giving up.
No, that's correct. They're not going to. They're going to maintain this pursuit and go as long as it goes. If it goes all the way to the state line, I'm sure they've already been in contact with Nevada authorities, Nevada Highway Patrol, to say, hey, we got a pursuit that possibly can come your way, and they will hand it over to Nevada Highway Patrol.
And so that, as far as California Highway Patrol goes, then, and I can't believe we have to discuss this because we've been on it this long, but if it does in fact make it to the state line, that's where California Highway Patrol stops and another law enforcement agency picks it up?
And this vehicle would have to travel 144 more miles to make it to Nevada.
Which is surely what this person has driven at this point anyway, given that this began in Ventura County. Is that roughly what you would guess, Bruce?
Yeah, they're going to have. They will hand it off to the other agency in Nevada.
What? You damn well know I'm streaming! Asshole, you damn well know I'm streaming. Does this particular...
I put the laptop when you're done.
Just know, you comment when I'm done. But you take these to people, I'll to keep it in that. Right.
Hey.
When you're done, I have to
because
Yes.
they're familiar
Oh,
with
sorry, guys.
Nevada roads and that area, whereas California CHP is not. And that's kind of where California CHP, where
What? Yep.
the jurisdiction ends. They do work in conjunction with Nevada Highway Patrol, so they're very familiar with each other. But yeah, they're definitely going to hand it off.
And we've just been watching this for the better part of an hour and a half, going on 2 hours at this point, most of the time with you, Bruce. And like we've said, we hate to use the term safe when you're talking about police pursuing an attempted murder suspect. But given the charges that are involved here, or at least the suspected charges, this has not been something that's put the greater public in a whole lot of danger on this holiday.
No, one of the things that both of you have been commenting on is the lack of traffic on the 15th. I mean, we've seen southbound traffic headed back to LA from Vegas or wherever they were from, but as far as northbound traffic, it's almost been non-existent.
What are you curious about? Because we have just minutes left of fuel left in Air 7, which is just remarkable that this person has been able to run out the tank of a helicopter that's been following them for 3 counties at this point. But what will you be wondering when we no longer have eyes on this pursuit?
At the terminus of the pursuit at the end, how it comes to fruition, and really what was this person really wanted for, and was it good information that the law enforcement agencies had on this person, and, you know, basically, what are we chasing?
Yeah, and we can tell you that from Victorville to Barstow, you're looking at about 33 miles, and then you're looking at another 100 miles to the Nevada County line. So, you know, it's hard to believe that this car could make it all the way to Primm, but we've seen crazier things, and we just don't know how much gas this Subaru has. But as Liz pointed out, this car has already traveled over 100 miles. We actually don't even know the exact location within Ventura County where this originated. So we know that CHP picked it up, we believe, Woodland Hills area or somewhere near there on the 101 South, but we don't exactly know, you know, where the gas was at in terms of that tank in the Subaru.
And Bruce, this is interesting to me. This is the first vehicle that we've come across almost the entire time we've been following this SUV that's out in front of the vehicle that doesn't appear to be moving over. And surely at this point they realize what's going on. You can hear the helicopter above you. You can see the night
Hang
sun that
on,
they're
let me
using, but they
finish
also
my
can't
stream
see
real quick and
CHP
I'll get
behind
up.
this vehicle. What do you make of what we're seeing right now?
I'm seeing a vehicle driven by somebody that really is not paying attention to the roadway behind them. Or I hate to say that, but with all the distractions in modern technology, and that's why you see the helicopter with the night sun trying to warn them and say, "Hey, get out of the way."
And now they're shifting over.
That's what I'm saying.
It looks like. But yeah, either that driver was not aware because of course they're driving, so but they didn't see the police lights in the distance behind them. And then at the same time, we've seen situations, Bruce, where other vehicles on the road try and get involved in a pursuit. I'm not saying that that is what is happening now, but I know I've interviewed you on stories where drivers have, you know, tried to take matters into their own hand, which I know CHP never wants to happen.
Yeah, we have seen that, and a couple of cases come to the point where people have actually got out in the middle of the roadway and thrown stuff at the vehicle to try to slow it down or stop it. These are all things we obviously don't want to see or ask the public to get involved. Let law enforcement do its job. But yeah, unfortunately, those things do happen.
But also one more thing to point out as we pass through the Victorville area, and this is the only other car we've really seen on the road. One thing I notice here is this car that we've been following in pursuit all night isn't gaining any speed on that. So it gives you an idea of how slow that car is going, that this SUV didn't pull out of the way, and this car has not come anywhere close to it. So this vehicle is probably just, in the 40-mile-per-hour range like it was before. It's incredible to me, Bruce, that this car is able to maintain the speed that it is, given 30 minutes ago or so, that tire came flying off the vehicle.
Yeah, we saw a tire come off. It was not an imagination.
We sure did.
And why it's not on the rim and why it's not having mechanical issues or, seeing the sparks that we talked about, it's kind of foreign to me, but it just maybe goes to the point of how well built these vehicles are.
Right.
We're seeing more people parked on the overpass watching this pursuit. Finally, we are seeing that Toyota 4Runner that was about 50 feet in front of the Subaru pull off the freeway. So that's some good news, not getting involved at all in this pursuit, just deciding to exit. And once again, this Subaru has an wide open freeway, no other vehicles. I'm actually seeing it looks like a CHP car in the distance is getting off as well.
He just wants to talk to you real quick.
Not as many. Oh, looks like that car is possibly going to have a conversation with that. But I will say we're not seeing as many California Highway Patrol cars in pursuit the deeper we get into San Bernardino County. We at one point saw 6 to 12 cars. Right now it looks like there's only 4 or 5 that are really trailing this Subaru. What do you make of that, Bruce?
Yeah, as you say, it's definitely been scaled back to 4 or 5. You have a primary, a secondary, a third vehicle, which is probably a supervisor, and then you have maybe 1 or 2 left over to provide traffic control and traffic break at the terminus so the felonies stop taking place. But it will also be resources out in the high desert area. They just don't have that many CHP officers on duty today as it being a holiday.
Right, and I'm not sure if this is the same Subaru we were following before because it appears as though both headlights are now back on this vehicle, and very clearly we saw earlier, Bruce, that there was just one headlight on this vehicle.
And I'm not sure if you have the ability in that car to only have one of your headlights on and the other one off. We thought that it was just out, but it does look like
our director was saying it was a daytime running light that was out before. But and regardless, there was a change in the headlight or lighting situation from the vehicle.
Same vehicle in pursuit right now that we're watching, and we can tell you that for quite some time, traveling at 4 miles per hour, we were in the Hesperia area, but this pursuit is now in Victorville on the 15 north, 30 miles north of Victorville, of course, is Barstow, and then another 100 miles to the California-Nevada state line.
And just to give you an idea that we noticed the small change in the headlight lighting situation, that's how closely we've been watching this pursuit for about 2 hours now, as this car has continued to evade California Highway Patrol, first in Ventura County, then all the way through Los Angeles County into the San Gabriel Valley, and picked it up 15 north. And this car, has to have been driving for probably 150 miles at this point. We don't know how much fuel was in this vehicle when this all began. This was a traffic stop that this person did not comply with in Ventura County and has not stopped ever since. We believe that one of the tires may have been impaired by one of the spike strips that was thrown down, one of 4 spike strips thrown down by CHP over the last 2 hours or so.
Yeah, we can tell you this pursuit started over 2 hours ago, possibly, we believe 2 hours and 15 minutes ago. We have been on the air since 6 p.m. We're approaching the 8 p.m. hour, and Air 7 is low on fuel, so we will not be able to stay with this much longer. But just to wrap up, started as a traffic violation in Ventura County, then traveled 101 south into LA County, then into San Bernardino County, and we are now deep into San Bernardino County. 4 spike strip attempts. That final attempt was successful. The car now on the 15 north in the Victorville area.
And this person is now well on their way to the California-Nevada state line at this point. Air 7 is going to have to break away to refuel at this point. We are going to continue monitoring this situation as quickly as we can. We'll bring you the very latest on exactly what happens and any possible conclusion to this situation later tonight on Eyewitness News at 11, along with all of the other big breaking news of the day. You have been watching this continuous coverage of police pursuit through Southern California. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Liz Nagy.
And I'm John.
Good morning. We're breaking into your streaming coverage with an LAPD pursuit, and it appears to be a traffic vehicle. Scott Reif is in Air 7. Scott, what an unusual sight to see a bunch of cones and LAPD chasing the
Okay, guys. Yeah. I will continue on tomorrow. Yeah, it's a short stream today. Sorry, guys. I'm just really tired right now.